little bit about himself, kind of give you some context about how he got here, how he founded Icon Meals, which is a leader in the space, and then kind of talk about where they are and where they're looking to go. And most importantly, what inspired Todd to kind of take that risk and bet on himself to innovate in this space.
From a standpoint of business, let's say, more entrepreneurial, never had what I call a real job. I don't even know if I'm employable. From that standpoint, came out of college with a degree that doesn't really mean anything and has nothing to do with anything I do. But from the standpoint of that, started working with a company, but as an entrepreneurial company out of Sydney, Australia. Had a computer company. It was crazy because I was just looking to apply for a driver position at this sales company. Didn't know much about it. Ended up, anyways, long story short, I was in Dominican Republic, I think, and my mom got a call and said, hey, can he sell? And can he show up on Monday with a suit rather than wearing jeans to drive? And I'm like, okay. So anyways, that got me sort of into that area. Built that company up with me and one other guy. It was a 24-year-old guy out of Sydney, Australia. It was crazy. Expansion all over Canada. Grew that to about 110 million in less than 3 years. And it was sort of a whirlwind. It was working for a Chinese billionaire, I'll call it, 34 years old, Johnson Wang, crazy. Ended up down in Texas to look at opening a U.S. operation. And that's where, so we went to New York, Chicago, all these places. That's how I ended up in Texas. From there, that was a whirlwind. Learned a lot of hard lessons. Ended up not working for real good people, so learned another lesson. And that's sort of when I started my own first company. So first company was in the funeral industry. We were the first guys to do funeral home, I'll call it management software back then. So we built probably close to 16,000, 14,000 websites for funeral homes. We were the first guys to do sort of management software, tying it into like the hospitals, healthcare, all that stuff through EDI, death care certificates, etc. Ended up sold that company to a publicly traded consolidator in the space and started another company called Layer Technologies, which was my next sort of big one. Had that for 14 years. Probably a lot of your listeners know who WordPress is. We were the first guys to host WordPress. Barry and Matt, good friends of mine. We got into cybersecurity, a lot of different PCI compliance. We worked with Amex and MasterCard, all these different ones. Anyways, so background isn't really in food, right? Or in software, stuff like that. But so then sold that in 2014, started Icon Meals. And it's funny because my wife's like, can't you do, like, just go get a regular job, right? Like, do something regular, just like, the little white picket fence and
like steady.
9 to 5. Yeah, because I've had her all over the place. Like, she came down for me, Toronto to Montreal, all of a sudden promised her, hey, Dallas, Texas, when we weren't married, flew to Dallas, Texas, she's been through lots, right? We've had $1 million homes and then multi-million-dollar homes and then sold everything to start another company, and she's been through that cycle a few times. But Icon to me is really, it's more a passion project. Like I said, I grew up being the fat kid, right?
Yeah.
To me, from a business model standpoint, you always have to have a couple things. My mentor in business always had to have residual revenue, recurring revenue, and that's what my first two companies were: software development, hosting, etc. Money coming in month after month. Food to me is the same, right? It's that stickiness. It's that people eat, and hopefully people are going to order from us every. I don't know, you go to the grocery store every day, right, or every other day. So from a weekly standpoint, looking at how do you get that, and most of our subscribers are someone who are going to buy either weekly or bi-weekly. So the average customer buys 2 to 3 times a month from us. So in that regard, and then the second thing you have to have is a solution to a problem. And the solution to the problem for me looking at starting Icon was really the element of convenience. How do you get healthy, quality food that's not full of, I'll call it crap, right? Like in regards to preservatives, all this other stuff. And that was important to me from a trusted source that gives you more protein. And again, allowing us to be that sort of trusted partner for you. I don't know, you doing your different coaching, right? Your programs, I don't know, busy single mom, busy executives, people traveling on the road. How do you get that healthy nutrition conveniently delivered? And that's sort of what Icon started from.
Yep.
And when we started it based on like building custom meals. So more, I think people think sort of just fitness for us, right? And again, fitness is a vertical for us, but it's not our biggest by any means.
Because it crosses over industries. Anybody that eats or is somewhat health conscious, you don't need to be in the fitness space.
Yeah, so we work with a lot of dietitians that way. Prior to COVID, a lot of our customers were, I'll call it business travelers. And that goes back to that convenience element, right? Maybe you have 6 meetings and you're in New York, Arizona, California, etc. You can order your food online, have it shipped to your hotel ahead of time. Sure, you can maybe entertain your clients and stuff, but you can still stay on point, right? And that's key. So worked with a lot of like the WWE, we work with UFC, work with a bunch of people just based on that side of the business. So from there, that sort of fast forward evolved. People are always looking at, hey, they want things to happen now. And like I tell anyone in business, I had layer tech for 14 years, right? So we're 9 years in this one. People are like, hey, you're gonna sell, blah blah blah. To me, there's a lot of different things, right? You have to look at what you want to do, and again, there's associated risks along the way. Laird was different, raised a ton of money, had Excel KKR as one of my main partner for 9 of those 14 years. Excel KKR is the second.
Who'd you have?
Excel KKR. So
Oh,
they're
right.
like the second largest, basically private equity company, right, in the world.
Yeah.
From that standpoint, so we had bought 4 other companies, etc. We sold to. We were supposed to sell to Silver Lake Partners. We ended up selling to Data Pipe, who sold to Rackspace, who's still publicly traded today.
Out of Miami. Yeah.
So our division's still in there, but it was a great partner, right? You could grow in different things. So Icon's been a little bit differently, right? We've funded everything pretty much ourselves to date. So it's, again, you have to look at, there's a lot more associated risk in different things.
Yeah.
I think from an entrepreneurial standpoint, that's helped me get to where I am just based on my definition of what risk is, probably compared to a lot of other people.